Welcome back to another episode of the Carter Cast. I'm your host, Carter Bond. On today's show, it's just Connor and I. We start off in the NBA about Paolo Banchero being a mortal lock for Rookie of the Year. He's by far the best rookie. Talk about how impressive he's been so far. We talk about the Pelicans, how they easily, probably, maybe could make the Western Conference Finals. The Warriors, are they in trouble? Is Clay washed? And then the Bucks being undefeated so far. I know they lost tonight. We were recording right before their game started, so we didn't get to see that loss. We talked about them being 9-0. They're 9-1 now, but they're still incredible. Still probably the favorites for the title. We talk about the Cavs being legit, Donovan Mitchell's resurgence, and then the Clippers being the same old Clippers. Kawhi Leonard constantly injured. Sketchy injury news by the Clippers all the time. Nothing changes. Obviously, we do a Lakers minute. And we talk about Liverpool getting sold by Fenway Sports Group, LeBron being involved in that with the Vegas team. What does that mean for LeBron's future? And then we also get into the Utah Jazz, their impressive start, and the Charlotte Hornets, obviously, how they're just genuinely terrible. And then we close the show. We talk some college basketball, obviously talk Duke, Carolina, talk about some national championship looks, ACC Futures and stuff like that. We don't do too much in college basketball. We're going to dive more into that starting next week when we get some better games like the Champions Classic. And we want to get some guests on. We have John Fanta coming on very soon. Bo Estes, got some same old guests. We're going to get some new ones in here as well. Exciting stuff. Make sure to check out cartercast.com for blogs, articles, picks, clips, episodes, you name it. It's on there. cartercast.com. You can find it in the episode link below. Make sure to go check it out. And thank you again. And I hope you guys enjoy today's show. All right, we're back. It's time to do some NBA. Real quick, I know you're sitting here thinking, man, these guys are the best. They hit the NFL parlay. Thank you. We appreciate the thank yous.
Sing our praises.
We told you it was going to hit, and it hit. Like, what more do you want us to say?
Yeah.
But let's talk basketball. Basketball season's upon us. We're recording right now. It is 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, Monday night. We're watching college basketball. I'm watching Duke win by 24 points, 26 maybe if they hit these free throws. Going to cover. We're going to start off in the NBA. Speaking of Duke, I want to talk about, we knew this coming in, the clear-cut, most obvious rookie of the year I think we may have ever seen. It is going to be unanimous. But right now, they could just end the season right now. It's going to be unanimous. It's Paolo Banchero. He's unbelievable. Barstool tweeted out just now. He looks like a 7-year vet. He is unbelievable.
Averaging 23, 8.5, 3.6 assists, half a steal a game and a block a game. That's Rookie of the Year numbers. That's easily Rookie of the Year numbers. We've seen a lot worse numbers win Rookie of the Year.
Malcolm Brogdon was maybe the worst one. Him and Michael Carter-Williams.
My first thought. And then you think of Jabari Smith, who's putting up, 8 points a game? He's invisible. He's invisible this year, which is fine. He'll develop. But Rookie of the Year is clearly Paolo. And we were on it. We were on it from before the season. We both said he is the most NBA-ready player, even if he didn't go number 1, number 2, whatever he got drafted at. No matter where he got drafted, we knew he was going to be Rookie of the Year.
And we talked about it before the show. It's a lot like the Tatum thing. Like when Tatum got drafted at 3, everyone said, well, yeah, he's the most pro-ready prospect, but his potential is nowhere near Fultz and D'Angelo Russell. Sometimes you just draft a pro-ready dude that also has that potential. Like, it doesn't make sense. They're the perfect NBA builds compared to these dudes. Like when you're drafting a Chet, I'm not saying Chet's going to be a bust by any means, but like when you have a dude who's 6'10", just built perfectly. He's literally built perfectly to last in the NBA and be great. How do you not draft him? He obviously went 1, so, no disrespect to OKC, but I think if OKC had the number 1 overall pick, I think they were going Chet.
I think so too. And the reason is people nowadays overrate potential. Like I understand generational prospect. Victor Wembanyama is different, but people draft too much based on potential. They underrate the value of getting that guy that's ready to come in the league from day one and put up 18 points a game, 7 rebounds a game on 45% shooting. Instant contributor. That helps to grow their confidence instantly rather than drafting somebody who may not be ready yet, who comes in and struggles the first year, averages 10 points a game, shoots 30% from the field. That hurts their confidence. Drafting a pro-ready guy is so underrated, I think, especially in the lottery.
Absolutely. And he's unbelievable. If you haven't watched the Orlando Magic. They're must-watch league pass team. We said this before the year. You have to watch him. Franz Wagner, I mean, he's not going to wow you off the screen, but if you love basketball and you know basketball, he's unbelievable. He's fantastic.
He is good.
But I talked about it, I think, on our last show too. The Magic are in this perfect position where they keep losing games. They're competitive in these games, but they keep losing them, which is honestly the best thing for them right now, because then they're going to have a super high draft pick. They're going to be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, the Scoot Henderson sweepstakes. They're in a great position.
And they have so many young pieces under the age of 23. Paulo, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. Bol is still only 23. Wendell Carter's still in his mid-20s. Their entire team is young. Mo Bamba's even still there. They have the pieces. So once they figure out how to win, especially if you add a Scoot Henderson or another top 5 pick, they're building pretty well because Paulo just looks so smooth. Even coming from a Carolina fan, like, you just got to love the game of basketball. I'm not afraid to admit it. He looks so smooth on the court. And we knew coming in. We just knew coming in. Shout out you putting down the early bet on Rookie of the Year. Free money.
At plus 250 too. Like that, it's minus 300. It should be minus 1,000 right now. There's no debate. Like, it's crazy. He looks like no debate.
He looks like he's been playing in the league for 5 years, honestly, with some of the movements, some of the pull-ups, moves to the basket. It's just so smooth.
He is the clear-cut Rookie of the Year. He's phenomenal. We knew that going in. And it's just amazing that people like just thought otherwise. Like, when you walk, like, I don't know, maybe Jabari Smith, I'm a little worried about. I'm the panic button. Like, I know, yes, it's 10 games in. Shouldn't write off a rookie this early. I will never do that. But when a guy can't dribble the ball at all, I get scared because he's got that Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. can't create his own shot. No. Jabari Smith, I'm a little worried about. If he can't dribble the ball in the NBA, but he can shoot, so he'll have a career no matter what.
Even in the summer league, he looked a little sketchy against summer league competition. We were even like, okay, like, he had a couple good games, but like, he was pretty inconsistent. And we were like, oh, summer league jitters, whatever it may be. Like, just got out of college. It hasn't really translated much to the NBA. Like, he still has those jitters, that inconsistency, that hesitancy. And he plays on the Houston Rockets, another young team. So it's not the best scenario, but that's what you get when you're number 2 draft pick. Number 3.
Honestly, it might be the worst scenario with guys like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. never passing the ball. But let's move on. The Pelicans are good. I mean, we knew that coming in. They're so deep.
They are. They have so many just valuable pieces. Like, if you even look at, obviously, their starting 5 is up there with some of the best starting 5s in the league. I'd put them up there top 5, top 6 in the league, starting 5-wise. And if you look at their bench, Larry Nance, sneaky good contributor. Devontae Graham's played well at times this year. Jose Alvarado, good contributor. Trey Murphy does not miss open threes. So if you look at these guys for the Pelicans, it honestly is such a well-constructed roster. Like, kudos to them.
I'm looking up the PER rankings because, I mean, Zion has to be near the top. Obviously, Luka's at 37 PER.
He's having an unreal year. That was I know it was square. That was my preseason MVP pick. And that,
my goodness. Giannis is second. Shai Gilgeous is third. Anyhow, we were having debates when we were texting and stuff. This team, honestly, like, I genuinely still think they have a real chance at the Western Conference Finals. Like, I don't think they can win the finals. I don't think, and you put them in a 7-game series against the Warriors. The road has to line up just right for the Pelicans for me. They can upset one of these. I think they can upset Phoenix, or if Phoenix gets a high seed, or maybe like a Minnesota or a Memphis if they get a high seed. I don't think they can beat the Warriors, though, even though we see the Warriors are in turmoil, as you want to say.
I think there is a path to the Western Conference Finals for the Pelicans. I think it comes with getting one of those more vulnerable teams, because right now, if you look at teams like, the Suns are doing pretty well this year, but the Timberwolves struggling this year so far, especially on defense. If you look at the Clippers, they can't figure it out. We'll get into that later with the whole Kawhi Leonard injury BS. So they can't figure it out. That was another team projected to be near the top of the conference. I think they could beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series. I know Jamal Murray, if he gets back to what he used to be, but still, the Pelicans have a great chance to beat any of those mid-tier teams in a series. And I think they can advance to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know if they can get all the way to the finals this year. That might be a stretch. But, the way the roster's constructed, I don't know.
Zion's so fun to watch, man. I literally, there's only a few players that just make me so excited to watch basketball.
Yeah.
Zion, Steph Curry's probably one all time. Duke, Zion right there. Like those are just dudes you sit there and you're just like laughing hysterically by yourself on the couch watching basketball while, oh my gosh, this guy is so good. Paolo's getting there. He's not quite like Zion and Steph Curry, the excitement they bring, but they're unbelievable. I did want to bring this question up, moving to another team. Is Klay Thompson washed?
If you follow the NBA at all, you've been seeing the Charles Barkley comments about Klay Thompson not being the player he used to be, which I agree with. No fault to Klay. I mean, he had 2 very serious injuries in back-to-back years. I don't know if washed is the right word. I just don't think his mentality, this takes off the top of my head, I don't think his mentality is where his skill level is. Like, I still think in his mind, he's that best 2-way guard in the league, can shoot anywhere on the court. I mean, he did miss 2 years. Like, that takes a toll on your mental and your physical. So, like, I think his shot selection is just a little off right now. And if maybe he'll start hitting those shots again as the season goes on. But as of right now, he does look kind of washed. Like, he's literally shooting the Warriors out of close games.
He is shooting 36% from the field, 33% from 3. He's down from 20 points per game to 15. And the stats honestly don't even tell the story. I feel like if you're watching these games, you're so uncomfortable whenever Klay touches the ball. I think that tells the bigger story. You're never confident whenever Klay Thompson scores or Klay Thompson shoots the ball.
If you asked me 4 years ago, Klay's coming off a down screen, he's going to shoot over 2 people fading to his left, I'm going to be like, that has a pretty good shot of going in. Here we are a few years later. I have no confidence. Even when he's open, it looks like he's forcing it and everything's just short. I don't know. I've watched a lot of Warriors this year. Just obviously they're fun. He just shoots them out of games. It's just bad shot selection. I really think, here coming from my fan perspective, I know so much. If he just let the game come to him more and didn't try to force so many shots, I think it would be better. He'd be so much more efficient.
He just doesn't move the same. And you have to be moving in this Warriors offense to get open shots. You see how fast Steph Curry, the second he hands off that ball, it is a full court sprint to a corner, underneath, going through a back screen, back up, getting open for these shots. Klay's not doing that. Klay's kind of just standing there jogging along the baseline.
I really think, so obviously the injuries play into it a lot, but age also does, and just wear and tear, like so many deep playoff runs. Like you said, in the Warriors offense, you constantly move around, cutting, back screens, flare screens. You're constantly moving. Eventually, as he gets older, you get more tired, and your legs from your jump shot are gone. He doesn't use as much legs in his shot as a lot of people do. But still, when you're tired, you shoot worse. It's just simple. So that could be catching up to him.
This may have to become a weekly segment, but you worried about the Warriors?
WAW, worried about Warriors. A little bit. I don't think it's full-on panic button yet, but I think they're showing signs of weakness. It's like, okay, we can attribute it to championship hangover, but they look like they've lost a step. Not Steph Curry. Steph Curry still looks good. But coming into the year, we knew it would have to be the young guys who had to take a big leap. Wiseman, Moody, Kuminga. They haven't really done that, to be honest, this year. It's only been 10 games, so I'm not ready to write them off yet. They have to take that leap and take some of the pressure off these older guys because Draymond, Klay, I mean, I don't know. Like, it looks like they've lost a little step. So I'm going to say, like, caution light. Not panic button, but like yellow caution light, like, okay, there's potential for this to go off the rails.
I'm not worried at all. Like, I don't feel worried about them. Everyone's trashing Wiseman right now. Like, especially every like NBA analytical nerd they can't like process how bad he's been.
He looks lost.
He does look lost. And I think it was Rusilla that said this. I don't mean to copy a take or anything, but it's just so dead on. When Wiseman has to think about what his next move is going to be on the basketball court, 100% of the time it fails. And when he doesn't have to think, he's one of the best players on the court.
Yeah, when you just throw him a lob and he's already in the air, you just have to dunk it.
Yep. Or if you're moving in a fast break, you're fine. As long as he doesn't have to think, he's good. And I don't feel the same way. I texted you about this and some other people. Andrew Wiggins is kind of like that too. The quicker Andrew Wiggins makes that decision of whether he's going to shoot, whether he's going to pass, if he sits there and has to think about it, it always feels like it's going to go off the rails.
That one game we were texting about it, I think it was the Magic game. It was true for every shot. When he was wide open, thought about it, set his feet, looked at the rim for a couple seconds, brick. When he comes off that screen though, or fades out to the corner and instantly catches it, he's got a quick jumper anyways. Doesn't even have to think about it. It looks so much better. It's true. It's a lot of mental stuff.
I'm not worried about the Warriors, though. I think at least one of these young guys are going to come into their own. People are overrating these young players, though.
I agree.
I've heard on podcasts and other NBA shows that Jonathan Kuminga, yeah, he has all-star potential. I wouldn't trade him for anything. I don't necessarily get that. I just think he's just going to be like Aaron Gordon. I don't know why people are setting such high expectations for him. Like, yeah, he's super athletic. He has all these intangibles that a lot of other people don't have, but like, so does Aaron Gordon.
He can be a consistent starter on a mid-tier team or like a fourth option on a good team. I don't think that's out of reality at all. I don't think he's going to be that all-NBA player, all-star that people are saying, at least not right now. He's very young, younger than most people in the league, but still, it just looks a little something like mechanically is a little off. I honestly, hot take here, you might agree with me. Moses Moody has the chance to be the biggest contributor for them out of those young guys, obviously other than Jordan Poole. I think Moses Moody has a very good chance to be playing 25 minutes a game come April for the Warriors.
I don't doubt that. The last thing I did want to mention on the Warriors, they didn't win a single game on their East Coast road trip. But I think they just get it together. I mean, they play their next, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in California. 1 game in Sacramento. Oh, and then 1 in Arizona. But they don't have to leave the West Coast for 6 more games. They'll probably go 5-1. They'll be fine.
That is probably true. I think they'll still finish probably 4th, I would say.
They'll finish 4th.
That's
what we said before the season, though.
And that's a good number.
Yeah, that's what we said before the season. They're going to win they're going to go 5-1 on this West Coast stretch. They're going to look fine. The other thing that's like not talked about enough in the NBA, that these teams on the East Coast, like the Pistons, like the Hornets. I mean, the Hornets freaking beat them. The Hornets are terrible. The Magic,
they are.
Heat. When the Warriors come to town, that's the biggest game of the year for these NBA fans. This is your one time you get to see Steph Curry, one time you get to see Clay and all these guys.
Oh, and all those teams,
the arena's electric.
They advertise. They're not like come see the Hornets. They're come see Steph Curry take on the Hornets.
Exactly.
Like that's always how it is.
And just watching this Carolina game tip off right now. There we go.
Oh yeah. God, that number 1 ranking is so scary. You can feel as a Duke fan because there's so much pressure.
Have fun with that. We'll get into college basketball a little later though. But yeah.
Ugh, disgusting. Yeah, and also as we're recording this, Hornets down 13 to the Wizards with a minute left. So just poverty all around. The Wizards without Bradley Beal. The Wizards without Bradley Beal, dare I say.
An unfortunate victory lap for us.
Oh, we were spot on. And the LaMelo injury only further. But the thing is, even when he comes back, I don't think it leads to that many more wins. Like more excitement, sure.
We'll talk Hornets at the end. But yeah, the Warriors are getting these East Coast teams best shot. I'm not too worried. But let's talk about a team that's just absolutely murdering. Hasn't lost yet. They play tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks. Without Chris Middleton.
Just clinical. And without Middleton, I had a take coming into the year I want to bring up again. And obviously Middleton hasn't played yet this year, so we'll see how it pans out. I said Drew Holiday would be the clear-cut second best player on that Bucks team. He's playing pretty well the last few games. He started off a little sluggish. He's playing well. And just overall as a team, they've just figured it out. They figured out how to play with each other. Brook Lopez came back from injury seamlessly this year. Bobby Portis is still getting buckets. Your boy Grayson Michael Jordan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
The number switched to 12. That was interesting. Didn't know that at first. I was looking for him on the court.
Yep. A little Kyle Singler action there.
Yeah, seriously. They just look unstoppable. And we were like, on the win totals, we were like, are they going to go over? Like, that's a high number. Like, maybe they go under. I think eventually we ended up saying over, though, didn't we?
We said...
I think we said over for the Bucks.
Yeah, I said over.
I think I did, too.
Yeah, no, I have the Bucks. I had the Bucks in the finals.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I said over for regular season wins. They just look like the most complete team, like with the least question marks, honestly.
Speaking of question marks, this Carolina team stinks. They're probably never going to win another game.
Oh my gosh. 4-0 already?
Yep. Biggest deficit of the year. The Cavs. The Cavs are legit too. Donovan Mitchell's a changed man. He is a repented man in Cleveland.
He has balled in on the defensive end too. I've watched a lot of Cavs this year. He has balled in on the defensive end. He is really putting in effort, especially when Darius Garland was out for the first 8 games. He was putting up numbers. I thought there would be a transition period of Garland and Donovan Mitchell playing together and like trying to figure it out. I think Garland getting hurt and letting Mitchell come into his own and figure things out, I think that's the best case scenario for them, honestly, because now he's back. They have an 8-1 record, and they have just fit in perfectly.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I'll give you this though. You did call it on Kevin Love.
I know I did. And you were doubting me. I knew it. He looks very good off the bench this year. Very good.
He's not. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to say anything. He looks.
He
good.
was 2 assists away from a triple-double the other night. Off the bench.
Is this Cavs team good enough to make the Eastern Conference Finals?
That's tough because the West looks weaker right now. So that's why we can say the Pelicans can make a run. A lot more has to fall in place for the Cavs, I think. I don't know, though, because the Celtics, I would still take in a 7-game series over them. I would still take the Bucks in a 7-game series over them. It's just those top teams. I don't know. I think they could really give Philadelphia a run for their money. I think
they would beat Philly.
That's the one team that really can give Embiid problems with that huge front line. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley down there just relentlessly at the rim. That would give Embiid problems. That's the one team that would give him problems.
If Donovan Mitchell's not barbecue chicken on every defensive possession, then, I mean, he could give Tyrese Maxey or even James Harden problems.
I think so, too. And even while we're on the Cavs, Karis LeVert has been dominating this year as well. I did not think Garland, Mitchell, and LeVert would be the starting backcourt for that team because defensively there's just so many question marks there. They've looked very good. They've looked like it just works. I don't know. I would take the Cavs over like the Raptors or the Hawks in a 7-game series, like teams like that. But it's just those top tier teams that I just don't know yet.
Yeah, I think I would. It's hard to say no. Like, we're obviously overreacting a lot right now. We're 10 games in the NBA season. We're 1/8 of the way there.
Yeah, exactly.
A long way to go. So
we got a haul. We got a haul.
But speaking of which, something that never changes: Kawhi Leonard being sketchy about his injuries.
It befuddles me, honestly. Tyronn Lue today.
Nice word. Okay.
Thank you. Tyronn Lue today came out and said Kawhi Leonard will not play tonight. It's more of a week-to-week basis than a day-to-day. That's so sketchy. It's just like what last year in the playoffs was it, or when they were like, "Oh, Kawhi Leonard might come back from this ACL tear and play." He was never coming back. They were just blowing.
He's not playing until Christmas. Face. We all know he's not playing until Christmas.
No, and he legitimately might not play but 30 games this year.
Think about that. That though. Like why? Like it's crazy to me that people would bet their hard-earned money on the Los Angeles Clippers to win 53 or more regular season games when they can't stay healthy. And why would you, like I talked about this last time, why would you deviate from what you know? You know that Kawhi Leonard is never, ever, 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 ever going to play 60-plus games in the NBA season. He's just not. It's never going to happen again. Don't think it's going to happen. He's never going to start 60-plus games in NBA season. This Clippers team is fine. They're okay. But they're 53 wins. Are you kidding me?
Too much. And I don't think there's a team in the league, even teams that are tanking in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. I don't think there's a team in the league that cares less about the regular season than the Clippers. And I mean that. They literally could not care about the regular season.
Man, it's like, if you're a legit Clippers fan, I almost feel bad because like you're always a little brother to the Lakers. Even when the Lakers are in this kind of turmoil right now, they turned it around a tiny bit. They're still terrible.
You have an exciting team on paper, and that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. I talked about this before the show. Everybody every year is like, oh, if the Clippers just get healthy by playoff time, it's not going to matter. Kawhi comes back, Paul George comes back. I still have them as favorites for the title. That's just not true. That can't happen. You have to play. We said this last time. You have to play during the regular season together. You got to build that chemistry, figure out those roles. You can't just come in with 12 guys that have been playing in and out of the lineup all year and just hodgepodge something together. It's not going to work. And that's why they haven't been meeting expectations, especially in the playoffs.
We did want to talk about this. Let's talk about the big brother of the Los Angeles Clippers. The Los Angeles Lakers, kind of same old. They still stink. Like, yeah, they picked up a couple wins. They're no longer going to go 0-82.
Right.
But they still stink. They can't shoot the ball to save their lives. Every Lakers fan's like, it's almost sad hearing Lakers fans like be like, oh, Westbrook off the bench actually kind of changes things. No, it doesn't. They still stink.
He still plays the same. It's basically the same rotations with him and the starting players. He plays 32 minutes a game. He's in the Tyler Hero 6-man role. It's just a mental thing. That's literally just a mental thing. And honestly, since it happened, he has been playing better. So like, I'll give a little credit there. Doesn't necessarily mean that's why they've picked up a couple wins. And just the Lakers their roster, if you just look at their supporting cast, it's honestly poverty. Like, obviously, they're all NBA players, great talents in basketball. It just does not fit. And everybody says that. It's almost too obvious. It's almost too obvious. There's no shooters. It's just too obvious. I don't understand.
Bill Simmons on his podcast either yesterday or early this morning said that Anthony Davis might be in possible trade talks.
In possible trade talks, I don't doubt that at all. If you're LeBron, there comes a certain breaking point where, like, you're in year 20. You got to figure it out because your window is closing fast.
So that's what I wanted to switch to is Liverpool. And you're going to say, what does this have to do with the NBA? Liverpool announces that they're getting sold, or the owners of Liverpool, Fenway Sports Group, who also own the Red Sox. They own Liverpool. They own some other stuff as well. They're selling Liverpool. And the only reason they're really selling Liverpool is, one, they can't compete with oil money because nation states are running football, whatever. That's a different story. But they're selling Liverpool to pay for their expansion NBA team in Vegas. Who do you think is a part of FSG Sports Group? That is LeBron James. LeBron James is the part owner of Liverpool. He's in the investment group with them. He's already mentioned on his show, The Shop, probably the worst show of all time.
He just came out in the press conference and said, hey, Adam Silver, let me own the team. Let me own the team in Vegas. Remember he said that in the press conference before the season?
Exactly. So he's going to be playing for whatever the Vegas team's name is. He's going to be on this Vegas team in whatever 2025 playing with
That's
Bron.
what I'm thinking. He will be on the inaugural team whenever it happens, just to, like, get those tickets sold, get that marketing up, and get people to flock to fandom, get all those bronzexuals, to build a fan base. Honestly, is what it is. And it's going to work. He's going to be 43 years old, and he's going to play one last year on the inaugural season of that Vegas team. And it's going to be a marketing genius. Then he's going to go into ownership and ride off into the sunset. It's going to be genius.
Yep. And Fenway Sports Group, the only reason that's why they're selling Liverpool. Like, Liverpool's a cash cow. They're making so much money with Champions League and Premier League TV money coming in. It's just billions of dollars coming in. Why sell it? The only reason to sell it is you got to use that $5 billion you're going to make from Liverpool towards the Las Vegas NBA team. And it's all but confirmed now.
How soon? Okay, I want to ask you this. How soon do you think they announce it? Not actually put it in motion, but like announce it.
I think they would announce it by next summer that there's a
really that
Seattle
soon
team. Yeah, I think it's going to be announced very soon. I think it's already probably all but done.
It lines up. They were pushing the Seattle Pro-Am, Jamal Crawford's Pro-Am, so hard over the summer. People playing in it. They were pushing it on the NBA app heavy. I think they're kind of laying the foundation, like, okay, let's get this ball rolling. Let's see what the NBA interest still is in Seattle. Obviously, it's still very high in Seattle. Even they should never have lost the team anyways. I think it'll work out.
Last thing on the NBA, Steve Nash gets fired. I know it's kind of old news. I'll be brief here. Nobody could have won with this team. I mean, you can't win with Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant. Like, you can win with Kevin Durant, but like these other dudes, it's impossible. He was in an impossible spot. You couldn't put prime Phil Jackson there, and they would have still lost 1,000 games. And still, I mean, and everyone brings it up too. If KD's foot is just right behind the line, how different is everything?
They probably win a title. Honestly, they definitely win a title that year. I would go as far as to say that. The thing is, people have said this across the league that I've seen. Steve Nash is one of the most likable people, one of the most understanding, compassionate people.
Probably the greatest basketball player to ever play.
Oh, of course, yeah. If anybody could manage those egos, it was him. So, I don't know. He was the scapegoat, but like I think people are starting to realize that wasn't the problem. And also, Steve Clifford is going to bring him down to hang out with the Hornets. I think he could unlock LaMelo to like another. I'm not saying let's go 7 seconds or less and just completely refute what Steve Clifford brought.
Yes, we should do that. That would be so much better. What is okay? Like, I understand. Yes, LaMelo's out. Hornets fans were freaking out like, oh, we'll be fine. We just need LaMelo back. LaMelo's not going to win these games single-handedly. He's just not that kind of player. But if you completely change the style of how you play, like, why not change it up? Clearly, none of this is working. Why not do a 7 seconds or less offense? Let it run.
That's true. I mean, Clifford's got these guys buying in on defense, but if you can't score, it doesn't matter, especially in today's NBA. It's not the 90s anymore.
You have to score 100 points. 100 points doesn't win you an NBA game anymore.
Exactly. Like, oh, good job, Hornets. You held the other team to 105 points. You scored 92. So, like, it's not a formula for success, especially long term.
Let's take a quick break and talk a little college basketball. All right, let's do a little brief college basketball minute. Opening night, it's going on right now. Duke won by like 27. Carolina's at halftime, only up 11.
Yeah.
Only up 11. They kind of suck. I think Carolina might. I don't know if Carolina makes the tournament this year, if we're being honest.
Yeah. I think last year was a fluke. I agree. I mean, they could be fighting for 10th spot in the ACC.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and buy your Tuesday tickets now.
Yep. Georgia Tech. I mean, they might win the ACC title. I mean, they beat Clayton tonight.
Florida State's probably going to bounce back and make the title game too.
Yeah, Stetson's, they're good. Anyhow, let's be serious now. UNC, it's kind of tough to do this little preview because we've kind of watched the first half. We kind of get a little taste of what we're seeing. But like, I still feel like some of my theories coming into this year are a little true about UNC. We haven't talked any college basketball. This is the first time we're doing it on the show. Are you worried with Carolina without Brady Manick? We saw anytime Brady Manick was out of games last year, Carolina struggled immensely. And every single game, when he was off the floor, his plus minus, I don't know what it was off the top of my head. It had to be absurd in the month of March.
I agree, especially like you said, near the end of the year when they went on that crazy run in the tournament, especially when he left the game, you saw it against Baylor. He left the game, Carolina was up 20-plus points, barely squeaked out a win. And I don't think it can be overstated, honestly, because coming into the year, everybody's like, Pete Nance is there to replace him. Pete Nance this. Pete Nance is a great player. He was great at Northwestern. He'll be a big piece for Carolina this year. He doesn't have that game-breaking shooting that Brady Manick has. He can't come in and literally shoot over just about any defender because Brady Manick's release point was so high, he could just shoot over people, even if they were 6'8", 6'9". Pete Nance isn't as good of a shooter as Manick was. I think he's better in other aspects of the game. But as to how he fits into this Carolina basketball team, judging from last year, the Brady Manick fit is better than the Pete Nance fit will be, in my opinion. So I'm a little worried. I think they can figure it out. I think there might be a little adjustment period, though, not having that knockdown shooter on the court at all times.
Pete Nance feels, I mean, we watched the first half, obviously overreaction. He feels a little Justin Pierce.
Don't say Justin Pierce. Don't say Justin Pierce. I knew you were going to say that.
He feels just like him, though. You can't lie. You can't lie. He feels the exact same.
Only thing I will say, I was high-ish on Justin Pierce when he came in from William & Mary. Northwestern's a step up from William & Mary. And it was the whole thing with the Justin Pierce, Christian Keeling from Charleston Southern. Like, that was kind of a stretch to think they would be, like, insanely good. Pete Nance has a better chance to be a contributor than Justin Pierce. It does kind of give me that vibe, though. It does kind of give me that vibe. A little bit. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not too worried, though. We've watched a half so far. They're getting pressed. Wilmington's pressing them. I mean, there's not growing pains, but like early season, like they'll figure it out. I really think they will.
That's the other thing. Like, you know, when you're younger and you got to go to school the next day, when you live in North Carolina, you're like, oh my gosh, like Duke lost this game. Like I have to go to school and face everyone that's going to make fun of Duke, or Carolina loses the game. Everyone's going to make fun of you because Carolina lost. You're like, gosh, this sucks. Like the thing is when you get old, like, it's insane how irrelevant the regular season of college basketball is. Like November and December, like besides adding like wins to your resume, it really doesn't matter.
I agree. It's just the stakes aren't as high. And the thing is, you saw it last year, like while we're in Carolina, a prime example. They honestly were a bubble team going into the tournament. There was talks of them not even making the tournament. And they made it all the way to the national title game. They were one box out away from a championship.
First week of February, they were not in the tournament. It was absurd. No, they weren't. People were saying Carolina should have been in the tournament.
Oh, yeah. You were big on that because they had those couple bad losses in the middle of conference
play. They should not. But at the first week of February, they should not have been in the tournament whatsoever. They shouldn't even been in the bubble conversation. It was that bad. They turned it around completely, obviously, and we all know what happened.
They got a little slack middle of the year because of the name. And that's how it is when people are doing the tournament stuff. But that's the thing. The regular season, it is a good indicator, but things completely change come tournament time. And everybody knows that. That's why March Madness is so exhilarating. Because like the number one seed is not guaranteed a path to the Final Four. And in the NBA, I feel like, the number one seed, like they're going to win the first two rounds no matter what most of the time. College basketball, that's what makes it so exciting because you really don't know. So I agree with what you're saying about November, December games not meaning as much.
Also, Caleb Love, you never know which Caleb Love you're going to get. Tonight, we're seeing the Caleb Love.
He can't get up for these smaller games is honestly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, our friend Chip, who's shout out Four Corners podcast, he hits it spot on the money every time. Caleb Love plays with a massive chip on his shoulder. He gets up for the Duke game, for the tournament games. Not against UNC Wilmington in the season opener on Monday night. That's just not him. And that's that next step. And I once again tonight, it's showing again.
That's why Carolina's a tricky team against the spread. I will say that. They're a little tricky
I know.
against the spread.
I'm going to have to be careful on that this year.
I think they still cover tonight, though, to be honest. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I'm like, a lot of teams, everyone's like coming into college basketball this year, like these top teams, like, oh, they're going to be so good. Nobody's beating any of these top teams. We're going to see chaos in college basketball. I think last year, those top teams were actually legit. I think we're going to see a lot more chaos this year coming into college basketball. I think we're going to see Gonzaga lose a couple more WCC games than we thought they would. I think we're going to see Carolina lose. I mean, the ACC, you're not going undefeated in the ACC. Carolina's going to lose the games to, not necessarily to this team exactly, but a game to like a Georgia Tech or a Virginia Tech at Blacksburg, something like that. They're going to lose those games. And I don't think there's that strong of a team this year. Like that, you look at them and they are going to be number one overall in the tournament. And I think that's how college basketball is kind of becoming.
I agree. It's just so hard, especially in the preseason, to predict how teams are going to fare in the regular season, because you really don't know. You can base off what you saw last year, but there's so many extenuating circumstances. It's hard to get it right. It really is hard to get it right. And yeah, Carolina's ranked number one right now. I think that's probably fair based off what we saw last year. I don't know how long that holds. I think that there will eventually be a letdown spot kind of early.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the PK 80 will be a good indicator.
I think so too.
We'll talk about the team with the better Northwestern transfer, Duke, with Ryan Young, maybe the greatest big man to ever play at Duke. People are being asked that. Duke without their top two freshmen, Derek Lively and Dariq Whitehead. They look good, man. Obviously it's Jacksonville. Like you can't say, Duke's going to win the national title after beating Jacksonville. They look good. Jeremy Roach hasn't skipped a beat from where he was last year. His shot's fallen. He's confident. What I like about this Duke team this year, especially after watching tonight, they move the ball a lot more. It's not as much of a pro style offense as it was last year. Yes, they had pro players. That's just the matter of the fact. They're moving the ball. You got to play team basketball. We talk about it all the time. When that Duke team last year played team basketball, we saw what was possible. They made the Final Four. Even though they had this ridiculous talent, if you play like a pro style team, play a lot of ISO ball in college basketball, you're not going to win the title. You're just not.
Do you think that continues whenever the two highly rated freshmen come back? You think that ball movement will continue?
I think it does, just because I don't think, one, Derek Lively is a center, so he's not going to dominate the ball. Dariq Whitehead might dominate the ball a little more, but I don't think it's going to be a lot of ISO. I don't think there's a lot. That's the other thing. The other catch-22 with it all is when you don't have guys that you want to play a lot of ISO ball with, that means a lot of them can't create their own shot. Right. And that is a troubling thing, because sometimes you just need to give it to a guy that can get a bucket. Like you give it to Banchero, you're like, this guy can get us a bucket 9 times out of 10. Give it to him. Let's roll. Yeah. Right. And they're not going to have that same rim protection that they did with Mark Williams last year, but I think this Duke team will be good. I think it's going to look a lot different. I did want to touch on this though. Everyone's like going to try and do the whole, like how they hated Coach K, how they wanted to just poop on Coach K all the time. It's easy to poop on Coach K. I'm not even the biggest Coach K guy, even though I'm a Duke fan. It's whatever. Like, I don't care. Coach K's Coach K, whatever. Like, people who hate on Shire, it's kind of like, what are you doing, man? Like,
it's forced. It'll be forced for a while. Like, people will try to be like, to get that narrative. It'll never, ever even get close to the levels that Coach K was. It just won't. It's going to be so forced.
Because John Shire's so Brad Stevensy.
Even coming from a diehard Carolina guy who watched Carolina play against Shire in college and all that, like, I didn't like him, especially didn't like Greg Paulus and that whole team, singular. But he's honestly like a pretty likable guy. Like, I think once he gets into like the media stuff and like these interviews, like it's not going to be the same as Coach K at all. And that's why, Carter, this brings me to my next point along these lines. Does that hurt the Carolina-Duke rivalry, since you can't hate on Coach K? It's now Shire and Hubert Davis. Do you think that brings it down a notch?
I think it takes it down a notch a little bit. I think it does. I mean, Coach K is a big part of it, but I think as long as these teams are good, I don't think it really matters.
Okay, that's true. I agree. I think it'll be fine.
Like, we've seen massive rivalries in sports where when these coaches leave, it still sticks. Like, even as bad as NC State has been, like NC State Carolina is still a big game, like in North Carolina. It's always going to be a big game. And Duke Carolina is always going to be a big game in college basketball, because Duke is still going to get the top recruits. Carolina is still going to get the top recruits just because their brands are so big right now with all the NIL money coming through. They're always going to be top dogs unless something catastrophic happens. I think where this kind of transforms to is, I think John Calipari's got a lot of hate coming his way.
I think so too.
There's a lot of pent up Coach K stuff that's just out the window now, and they got to put that somewhere else. And Calipari, suspect number one. Bill Self is right there too, but Bill Self has 2 national titles to his name. Kind of can't do it to him now.
Yeah, Calipari, that's a great point. He's first in line to take a lot of that heat. 100%. I think he's
dodged a lot from Coach K. Calipari is his resume is very underwhelming.
It is. If you compare it to like coaches he's in the conversation with, Coach K, Roy Williams, even Bill Self now, it's not up there.
Jay Wright.
Jay Wright. Yeah. I don't know. It's a rough one because he's considered, obviously, he produces pro players like it's a Nike sweatshop, but that doesn't translate to like team success, program success. Like, yeah, you can put players in the league, but you're a college coach hired to win games, not necessarily put players in the NBA.
Yeah, it's weird. College basketball it's weird. I like the more and more like the regular season can be just so irrelevant sometimes.
I agree, and it'll still be fun though. I mean,
it'll still be fun. I love college basketball. I'm going to watch every single game. I'm going to be watching college basketball every night. Just ordered a new TV to watch every sport now. World Cup's coming. It's going to be bananas. I'm not saying that. But like every year that goes by, it almost feels like it matters less and less with the regular season.
It does, because there's so much focus, and rightly so, on the tournament, on the field of 68 that gets selected. There's so much focus on that during the year that it's less of a, okay, let's focus on this game-by-game basis, and it's more of a, let's talk about the big picture. What does this mean for tournament hosts? What does this mean for a quad 1 win, whatever? There's so much of that so early on in the regular season, it kind of waters it down, I'm not saying that's wrong, but that's just the effect that it has with all the tournament talk.
Okay. Real quick, let's talk a little futures. ACC. Who's winning the ACC tournament? I get to go first because I already gave you my pick, and I don't want to spoil it. I have 2 that I would actually put money on in the ACC tournament. NC State, they're probably, they might even be 25-30-1. I haven't looked at their odds. I have looked at this other team, and that's Miami. They didn't come out so hot tonight. They looked a little suspect tonight. Miami just feels like a team that's going to get hot in March.
Yeah, they have the pieces to do it, because
they're going to lose to Rutgers in the Big Ten Challenge. They're going to probably blow like a UCF game and lose to Georgia Tech and lose in Blacksburg. But this team is going to get hot in March, and I like at 20-1, 18-1, whatever you get it at. I like them to win this ACC tournament. It just does out of that perfectly.
It doesn't feel like a year that it's going to be Duke or Carolina. It just doesn't feel like that year. And I don't have any numbers to back that up, but just gut feeling, it does not feel like a Duke or Carolina year.
Virginia's winning the ACC regular season.
That was going to be my pick. I was going to say Tony Bennett is coming back from the dead. Virginia, Kihei Clark, Jaden Gardner, they're going to be back.
Yeah, they're winning. They're going to go.
They're due.
They'll lose maybe 3 games in the ACC max.
I think they're due. I think this is the perfect year for Virginia to come in. Carolina's got so much preseason hype. Duke, new coach, young team. I don't think either of them win. I think Virginia swoops in.
National champion. Obviously, you're picking Carolina.
I mean, my heart is picking Carolina, and it helps because they're the number 1 team. Like, if you had asked me this preseason last year and I would have said that, then I would have been crazy. I think they can do it. From a betting perspective, I wouldn't take them right now. We talked about this earlier. I would wait until middle of conference play. Carolina drops 2 straight. They lose that second game in the conference to Pittsburgh on a Wednesday night. Maybe their title odds drop a little bit, and everybody's like, what's going on in Chapel Hill? Take them then. But right now, it's not enough value, even for me. I think they do have a good chance to make it there. Redemption tours, like after losing the title game, has been kind to Carolina in the past. The last 2 championships come off a Final Four loss and a championship loss. So that lines up. I don't think they're a lock, though. Like, I'm fine with them being number 1. I don't think they're a lock by any means.
At some point this season, I will be taking Duke just because I have to. I'm legally abiding to have. You have to take Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Duke is going to lose in the PK 80 or like the Big Ten tournament. They're going to have a rough patch where like the Whitehead's coming back. Lively isn't fully, gelled with the offense yet. These injuries are going to come in. It's going to feel a lot like that 2017 Jason Tatum year when at the beginning of the year, not a lot of the guys started. Harry Giles, Bolden, Tatum.
Yep.
None of them started the year. They came in towards the end of November, early December. I don't think Tatum played until December against Florida at the Garden. It's going to feel a lot like that with Whitehead and stuff. It's going to take time. It's not going to look well right at the beginning. It's a little herky jerky. I think that's when you hit them when they're in a little rough period. It's going to sail. Just wait till February. That's when we're going to hit our stride, and then March you get hot. That's what you take Duke.
How long are they out?
Lively, I think Lively's going to be out until at least the PK 80. I think that's when the earliest he comes back. So Thanksgiving, and then Lively should be back in.
You mean Whitehead?
A week? Yeah, no. Whitehead Thanksgiving. Lively next week.
Okay. So not super long, no, but like it was like when Harry Giles came back. Harry Giles was out a little longer than those guys, but it's gonna feel like that. I think I could be wrong, but the one comforting thing about Duke and Carolina is you have guard play. You have strong point guards. You do
that you're gonna be relevant no matter what. And when it comes March, you're gonna be relevant if you have a point guard.
We've brought this up before, and that's what makes me feel confident about, in my case, Carolina to make a run of the title and Duke with Jeremy Roach as well. Because if you have an All-American big man, that's great and all, but if you don't have guards to get the ball up the floor, not turn it over, and to get the All-American big man the ball in spots to score, good spots, and to be a threat outside shooter so they can't just double from the weak side, it doesn't matter. You have to have good guard play to do that. They have to distribute the ball. Even if you have an All-American big, you have to have guards. And, the year with like Carolina's had like years before they haven't had strong guard play. It shows. Duke's has years before they haven't had a good point guard. It shows, even with the best talent. That year of Zion, Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, they didn't have a great point guard.
Trey Jones wasn't bad. I think that was just lack of shooting.
Yes.
It was lack of shooting. But yeah, like your point guard has to be able to shoot the ball too. That's what kind of scares me with Virginia when it comes March. I don't think Kihei Clark can. At some point, he's got to make shots. Gardner can only take him so far.
Yeah.
But besides Carolina, I mean, the obvious thing would be to say like maybe a Kansas or a Gonzaga.
Yep.
I feel like we're going to see a wacky tournament this year. Like last year, it was kind of chalk, a little blue bloody. I mean, it was complete blue bloods in the Final Four.
Yeah.
This year, we're going to see like Miami.
Houston? I think Houston maybe.
No,
I don't know.
I'm not a Houston fan. I'm not a Houston
tournament
guy.
time though. They got some.
They're so strong defensively. They're so strong defensively, but the problem is teams that solely rely on their defense. Eventually, you're going to face someone that's hot in the tournament.
Exactly.
You play 6 games against them. You play 6 games against teams, and you're going to play someone who has a point guard that's just on fire. And how do you stop that? You have to score points. You have to combat that in scoring points. You're not going to hold every team to 60 points in the tournament. That's the only reason Virginia won in 2019 is because they still put up points. They put up 80 points in the title game. That Texas Tech team was hitting shots. It's just Virginia was hitting them back with Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy.
That's fair. I don't think Houston will win the title. I think they could make a run though. I don't know. They're ranked 3rd right now. 3rd's a little high maybe in my opinion, but
also this is the last thing I have on college basketball. Why did we go away from the Champions Classic not being the opener?
I don't know, because that just brings so much excitement.
It's way better.
Like, how much better does it sound? Oh, opening night college basketball. We got Carolina, Kentucky, and Duke, Kansas, or something like that. Instead, it's Carolina, Wilmington, Duke, and Jacksonville State. Stetson beat Florida State. It doesn't bring as much excitement. Like, I would much rather open the season with a big game, win or lose. It's a great test. It's a lot of fun.
It's only a positive. It's only a positive.
And then go into the cupcakes.
Because whenever you lose a game to the Kansas, Michigan State, Kentucky's in November, it doesn't matter. That's not going to hurt your resume.
Exactly.
But all right, that'll do it for college basketball. Don't want to get into it too much. I want to watch some games first before we really dive into college basketball. College basketball previews can be super boring because sometimes they can just be super irrelevant. There's so much going on in college basketball.
Right. It's not like the NBA where there's a set number of teams and these teams are good or not. Like, there's so many college basketball teams and with a lot that we haven't even touched on. Yeah. Transfer portal, exactly. We don't know
Exactly.
yet. We don't know yet. Exactly.
All right, that'll do it from us. Make sure to check out cartercast.com. We're back blogging. We're blog boys again.
I know. I just dropped a decently long article, NBA forgotten players, late bloomers, I think is what I titled it. Pretty good read. Give it a read. I'm going to try to come out with more quick hitters as basketball season gets going. But yeah, back in the game.
I'm dropping a political article tomorrow for election day.
Oh, very nice. Themed version.
We'll see. Maybe I will. I was just lying, but maybe I will now.
I thought you were going to spin it like political, like sports though. Like, you know, like you were going to like make a play on that.
No, I was going to write a blog. Maybe I still will. Maybe I'll.
You know what? Here's an idea on the spot. Here's an idea on the spot. You want to go political? Make a case for like a head coach or somebody to be like president. And why?
Oh, no. I was going to go. I think it's stupid the NBA is canceling all their games on Tuesday to go vote.
Oh, I think that's stupid too.
But
like, whatever. I promise you, if I wouldn't skip voting to watch an NBA game. Like, you have to go in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Or
whatever.
But we don't have to get into that. Make sure to check out YouTube. Like and subscribe to the YouTube. We're growing. And TikTok, you know the whole deal. At CarterCast on everything. Check out blogs. Dylan's been pumping the blogs out. I'm trying to pump the blogs out. Connor's getting a blog out. I think we're getting one a week out of you now.
Oh yeah, I think so too. This one took a lot of I put some effort into this one. There's some numbers in there, some tweets embedded. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I had these long blogs. We're gonna get them down to here. Not up here, not super long. Let's get these down to like 300-400 words. A lot of people can't read.
Right. As I get more comfortable with like college basketball, NBA, like honestly, my NBA props tonight are pretty good. So I might start releasing a couple of those if I get more comfortable, but those will obviously be shorter. But it'll be some good content. Just follow along. It'll be there.
All right. I love it. Right. We'll be back. We're going to post an early podcast. We're recording early this week for the NFL pod. We're recording on Tuesday. Some scheduling conflict.
When you win 3 parlays out of 9 weeks, you just have to record early. I mean, you just can't wait.
But no excuses for us. No excuses. But kind of an excuse. We have to record on Tuesday, so it's going to be tough for us picking games on Tuesday. Wednesday's already hard enough. Tuesday's a tough day to pick. That's a lot of stuff can happen between Tuesday to Saturday.
When you've been winning as much as we have, though, you need a little challenge. You need a little challenge.
So make sure, that'll be out Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night. We're going to post it a little earlier this week. Make sure to check that out. CarterCast.com. Like, subscribe. You know the whole drill. And we'll see y'all next time.